Yeah, good afternoon. The time would be 12:12 p.m. and 11 seconds. The 17th. Yep, still in the 5th month. 2026. And it's a Sunday. A beautiful Sunday. And I am beaming, casting out and transmitting from 4-T, the Sanctuary, Pursuit, Truth. And here, now, Presence, Solar, Jaguar, Emperor. Now, as I've been transmitting out to each and every one of you, a question I got in the comment, the first comment I've got after about 400 plus or approximately videos I've done now. So we're moving along pretty good. And another thing is 12 months Labor's been there now and passing out all these hate laws, and house prices keep going up and up. He's called out time and time again about their lies, and he just ignores it or bluntly just says he denies it and then does it anyway. Well, what's that tell you out there, populace? Time to awake. Because there's no way out of this unless you guys all wake up. Rise and shine. It's the greatest mass awakening, unstoppable, inevitable, irreversible, and it's unavoidable. Now, that getting back to that comment, he asked, but what does it all mean? Well, it means, going back, it doesn't even matter because, well, proof's in the pudding. If you look at these books and so forth and then start going on your own journeys and opening doors, and it's not this is a big gradual process, but now I have to bring you up to speed, Godspeed. What it's all about is I sit before you on who I am because I am who I am. No doubt about that. Just rest assured and assuring the populace with confidence, inspiration, honour, integrity, courage, bravery, because we are conquerors. We are conquerors. This is my conqueror blood lineage. We stayed out of the scenes for quite a few centuries there, but they found us and then they massacred us. They tried to suppress and oppress us a few thousand years ago now, because people, well, the populace were embracing our ways, the true spiritual ways. So the Vatican, Catholics and the emperors at the top, well, I think there might have been an emperor, but it's all been fake. You've got to realise, if that Habsburg forgery never came out and didn't exist, well, you'd have 700 years different timelines. It'd be so completely different. It'd be completely different. They forged it and fictionalised everything and hoodwinked the populace here. And every century and every 50 years they get to re-educate you on fictional laws. Now, I blame the legalism for this. The legals, I call them, well, fake. They're fake legals. They're fake legals. Because everything the government does, they just legalise it through their fakeness too. You can see how evil and corrupt it all is, because they got their evil ones in high places because they put each and every one of them there themselves. As I say, you go back to that, the Pavilius, is it? Mayos? The Habsburgs forgeries. It came in 5 sections, I believe. 5 documents or so forth. And then another Habsburg became emperor out of that forgery, and then he signed off on that forgery. See how it all works? It doesn't work at all, does it? That's why I'm sitting here now, to correct the bloody thing. Because I speak the golden truth. And when you speak the golden truth, unfortunately, yes, some people might get cranky and annoyed at that. I spoke to a lady over there in Germany or wherever she lives on the continent we call Mother Gaia, and she got quite upset with the golden truth. Now, there can be no lies and no more forgeries, and I know people are going to get upset because you've been brainwashed and disillusioned with these evil illusions and distractions and destruction that these evil ones have put in front of you, put in front of your face. And this face I was communicating with, yeah, she got upset with me and blah, 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 yada, 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 yada. And basically said I didn't know what I was talking about, eh? I don't have to prove myself to anyone because I know who I am and who I am. But it's just my polite way and how I do things, because I'm humble too, to let the populace, because I need proof and there can be no doubts. Now, this is all documented, and I've pulled out documents and I've researched it all, because that's what I do. I delve into things as Elizabeth delve, my 5th great grandmother, approx, I think. And, well, I know. I don't think, I know. When I find out, I know, and then I start thinking and put the thought processes into play, and I discover the golden truth. And when I find that golden truth, I put it out to you guys. There's some people who are very, very happy about that and enriched about it because they've been with my old soul before. Now, the ones that have been out there, they get cranky and, well, they get nasty. They get nasty. Like, she actually said, I was trying to be nice to you. I mean, don't talk to me like that. I'd prefer you not even talk to me at all, because I'm telling you the golden truth. And that I hold the sword Excalibur for starters. And you start doing your research before you open your gob up and jump the gun, you'll be right. As I say, I believed everything in your pages. I didn't cast doubt on it. I just informed you on who I am. I am who I am. And I put the golden truth right in front of your face. No need to get nasty. No need for nastiness or hate. You're just falling in this illusion's hands. We don't want that. We're better than that. Well, I am better than that. And as I say, I know people are going to get upset because they've been educated the way there is. And as I say to this lady, it is not your fault, because if you don't know, you don't know. But when I tell you the golden truth, please don't get upset. I don't need it, and I don't like it, because I don't do it to you. Okay? You treat those how they treat you. Simples. It's very simples. Very good rules. It's natural flow of laws that we follow. And it's easy, because I put it in the simplest forms. Now, the DNA check I done, it's what it is. I put it out to you. Hey, don't jump on me. I'm just putting the golden truth out there. You want to go hit someone? Go hit your fridge in the bloody kitchen if you're so upset with yourself. Don't take it out on other people. No need for it. You're saying you're in these higher consciousness and back to the source and so forth. Well, start behaving that way. All right, I put my divine unconditional love out there to each and every one of us, and even those ones that are nasty and angry, because they're angry with themselves for being lied to. I understand that. But, as I say, centre, balance and ground yourselves. Be humble about it. Be humble and be comfortable. And I'm just going to put this. And as I say, I put the golden truth out there, and my unconditional divine love to each and every one of you to start embracing. And yes, it's hard. It's very, very hard when you've been brainwashed. As I said, if you don't know, you don't know, and it's not your fault. Now I just go on my calling and I keep putting it out there and keep putting it out there until everyone, well, basically wakes up to how hoodwinked and deception of lies and evilness, the critters, creatures, demons and monsters have been putting these evil illusions out there to hoodwink you guys, and each generation gets brainwashed and more brainwashed and re-educated on their curriculums of evilness. Of course you aren't going to know. Anyway, as I say, I keep putting that golden truth out there, and my unconditional divine love goes out to each and every one of you. And trust me, I'm not upset with you guys out there. What I am upset about is these ones that stole and hijacked the whole lot of it 700 years ago. Now, it is a prophecy that we said we'd be back in 700 years. And trust me, we are back. We're back in the play big time. Supernatural forces, the celestial, terrestrial, extraterrestrials, it's all there. And the Almighty. Okay? Human, a spiritual, intellect being. This is what I am. To understand why this history matters today, we must look at how the establishment hijacked our very language to hide the truth of individual independence. In the simplest of terms, the word sovereignty has been twisted from its original meaning. It originates from the ancient Latin root super anus, which simply means above. Describing as above, so below, as within, so without. A state of personal excellence and being a self-contained, independent individual. Centuries ago, centralising empires executed a linguistic heist, merging that word with the concept of an imperial reign to trick the populace into believing that authority can only be granted by a state department or a piece of paper. In that original pure Latin format, and in that same heist or hijacking, they stole my own family name. Long before modern governments existed, my ancestors used the word Duke in the original, as an original form, because we're respected high intellect beings that served the populace. We served the public. That's why we were called Dukes, because when we went over into Devonshire, Ireland, Scotland, all that, and England, a variation, we changed it to Duke, which is J-U-C and D-U-C, and the English version, D-U-K-E. Now, the pure format is Dux, which means a natural-born leader. It was never a state-granted noble title of luxury. It was a functional description of a man who guides, protects, and conducts his people through real capability, blood merit, and character. By standing before you today, I am stripping away 700 years of twisted definitions. I am not claiming a political favour from the establishment. Remember that wealth. New wealth order. I am reclaiming the original frequency of my name as a living human spiritual intellect being. And as being as a public leader and community advocacy, address the general anchor, principles of service, grit and soil. My friends and fellow community members, esteemed ladies and gentlemen, those that I have not mentioned, consider yourselves included. Everyone's included because my unconditional divine love flows out to each and every one of you. All for one and one for all. Now, in the now and presence, true leadership is not an artificial title printed on a piece of paper, nor is it a privilege handed down by far-off centralised bureaucracies. True leadership is a functional duty. It is earned through character, it is proven through action, it is sustained through deep generational accountability to the people and the land we serve. When I stand before you today to advocate for our communities, I am not standing on new or unfamiliar ground. I am stepping directly into multi-generational pipeline of public service, local infrastructure building and raw survival that has been physically woven into the very fabric of where I am at the moment, Queensland, New South Wales and all over Australia, since the literal dawn of our modern history. And then, of course, people should know, back into England, Spitalfields, and then back into Brittany and Normandy. Our family histories shape our responsibilities to the present. My own direct ancestry represents a perfect, verified cross-section of the foundational milestones of this nation. On my paternal side, my roots track back straight back to the First Fleet pioneers, William Eggleton and Mary Dickinson, who arrived at Sydney Cave in January 1788 and stood at the absolute genesis of modern Australia. On my maternal side, through my grandmother, Gladys Mary Dutton, and the Lucas line, my family tree encompasses the earliest master artisans who built the physical infrastructure of early Sydney alongside the prominent hard-working pastoral pioneers who opened the frontier boundaries of the Upper Hunter Valley and fed the populace. We do not just live in these regions, we built them. In the 1840s, my paternal ancestor, James Thomas Jushaw, established his harness-making business in the frontier bottleneck of Scone and Marrawandai and the New England presence, providing the essential level work that kept the horses, bullock teams and the local agriculturalists moving. At the exact same time, the Dutton pastoral families were managing extensive livestock empires across those exact same fertile valleys. For generations, our lines worked side by side at the gateway to the north. This culminated in May 1890 when my great-great-grandfather, Charles Francis Jushaw, was formally gazetted as the mayor of the municipal district of Marrawandai. He didn't govern from a distant capital, he lived on his local state, Coolabah, and dedicated his life to building the municipal, legal and fiscal reality of his local community. This isn't just a collection of old stories, it is a scientifically certified reality carried directly in my biology, tracing back through a profound deep time matrix of human history. On both my maternal and paternal sides, my DNA links back to the extraordinary common ancestor nod dating back more than 700,000 years, making an unbroken genetic lineage that witnessed the very dawn of humanity and outlasted prehistoric Humanian species like the Denisovans, which Denisovans. As that lineage adapted into the ancient world, it crystallised in highly specialised regional signatures. My paternal line holds the rare R-SRY 2627 with Z195 and Z198 genetic marker, a 4,000-year-old Bronze Age biological receipt natively rooted in the independent regional sanctuaries of southwest Europe and the noble houses of ancient Brittany. My maternal line carries H1E1A, the mitochondrial DNA, a 4,300-year-old inheritance linking straight back to the earliest agricultural pioneers of the European continent. Furthermore, because both my parents independently preserved and passed down the rare recessive A negative blood factor, my genetic makeup forms a completely closed biological loop. This specialised blood shield systematically filtered out the traits of the vast majority of the global population, preserving an ancient genetic sanctuary that survived the ice ages, crossed the oceans and laid down permanent roots in Australia's soil. To understand why this history matters today, we must look at how the establishment hijacked our very language to hide the truth of individual independence. In the simplest of terms, the word sovereignty has been twisted from its original meaning. It originates from the ancient Latin root superaneus, which simply means above, describing a state of personal excellence and being a self-contained, independent individual. Centuries ago, centralised empires executed a linguistic heist, merging that word with the concept of an imperial reign to trick the populace into believing that authority can only be granted by a state department or a piece of paper. In that same hijacking, they stole my own family name long before modern governments existed. My ancestors used the word duke in the original pure Latin format, dux, which means the natural born leader. It was never a state-granted noble title of luxury. It was a functional description of a man who guides, protects and conducts his people through real capability, blood, merit and character. By standing today before you today, I'm stripping away 700 years of twisted definitions. I'm not claiming the political favour from the establishment. I'm reclaiming the original frequency of my name as a living human spiritual intellect being. When centralisation, overreaching regulations and distant bureaucracies attempt to dictate the terms of our daily lives, they are imposing an artificial framework over our natural local communities. History shows us that top-down centralised systems consistently tried to standardise and control human activity by far overriding local needs, but real progress is made from the ground up. It is made by the local builders, the small business artisans, the rural pioneers and the civic leaders who understand the unique needs of their neighbours because their families have been working the same soil for over a centuries. Hear, hear. I stand before you today carrying the living continuity of that unbroken regional legacy. Continuality of that unbroken regional legacy. My platform is built on the exact same principles of local accountability, hard-won grit, and public service that Mayor Charles Francis Dushaw used to govern the Upper Hunter in the 1890s. I am here to work for you, to listen to you, and to ensure that the management of our communities remains firmly in the hands of the people who live here, work here, and trace their foundations deep into this soil. The stone is laid, the foundation is historic, fact. And together we will build a transparent, accountability and prosperous future for our country, Australia. I thank you for your time. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Amen. Beaming, transmitting and receiving out from 4-T, Sanctuary, Pursuit Truth, and the Golden Truth is the now in the now and knowing, and the now and present. Godspeed. Amen.